Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Yes, it happened yesterday. I have been totally fooled because I worked on a video, I uploaded a video, I was proud about the video I made, I started to read some comments, and then 30 minutes later, some journalists, expert journalists, were saying totally the opposite. A video that we can put in trash, at least if we believe the journalist. I told you, Mercato was crazy last summer in terms of the names that we are hearing linked to Juve. Well, this one can be totally crazy for another motif. That one news that can be shared today with you at that specific moment, 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, we can hear the total opposite. And that's what happened yesterday. I will give you all the detail, of course, because we are speaking about Juan Panita Cuadrado. Not only him, I will go role by role because we hear some things about the midfield. We hear some things about the attack. I heard the name of Firmino. What is right? What is wrong? We will speak about it. And then the big Chelsea factor. Chelsea that can be really important for the Italian market, not only Juve, but if we are speaking about Juve, 5 players of Chelsea has been linked to Juve. All the details, of course, after you, and I'm kindly asking you to put a maximum of like, to subscribe with the channel on the channel if you didn't yet. We start. Juan Panita Cuadrado. Yesterday I made a video of 10 minutes explaining you the logic behind Juan Cuadrado remaining at Juve. You could agree, you could disagree, and honestly I was expecting actually more people disagreeing with that news. Then, of course, there were the usual ones that were saying, Beppe, what are we doing? Are we crazy? Blah, 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 blah. Well, for these kind of people that were against the news, good news, Gianluca Di Marzio, but also Giovanni Albanese, that was the first one, they reported that no. Even if Cuadrado said it himself in front of microphones, with his words, I heard it, I saw it, he said, I received a potential contract offer from Juventus to extend, but I'm still thinking about it. I will think about it after my games with Colombia. Well, the journalists are saying, no, that offer never arrived to Cuadrado. On top of that, apparently Juventus even decided to give no offer to Cuadrado and to split roads. So for the people that yesterday disagree with the video, guys, you have a good news. Cuadrado would not be in the plans for 23-24. What are we learning with all the names that are circulating at the moment? What is the vision of Juve? I told you, for me, before any other news, we have to decide if we are playing with 3 men or with 4-man defense. And with all the names that are circulating at the moment, I really believe that we took the decision to go with 4 men. 4 men means that you need to invest in the fullbacks, because at the moment we have no fullbacks. I will not repeat the situation. You know better than me what is the situation with our fullbacks. And not only since 22-23, but since a few seasons. And that's why we are hearing from Gianluca Di Marzio that Juventus on the right side, instead of Cuadrado, is really thinking for not 1 but 2 names. Vasquez and Hulm. Vasquez from Real Madrid, Hulm from Spezia that just went in Serie B. A higher profile in terms of experience and a young player that already proved himself in Serie A. But not only these 2 names are to monitor for the right fullbacks, but also Singo from Torino and also the young Missori, young next-gen kind of under-19 project from Roma. And there we have the right side players. It's not over for the fullback situation, because we also have the left side. And here it starts to be really interesting, because one name came in the front pages today is the one of Fabiano Parisi. Parisi, 22 years old, from Empoli, Italian player that at the moment, probably because he's young, because he's playing at Empoli, is not in the urgency to play immediately Champions League games. Well, he could be one that is the priority for Juventus. A name that, yes, is absolutely someone that I like, because he proved himself. I watched him and he's a real great player, real great. At the moment, in the parameters of that new Juve that I can't stop to remember you, is looking for cutting cost, is not linked with these big huge names. Parisi on top of the priorities, but it's not over, because Cambiaso could come back, and at the moment looks like the rumors are saying that he will not be tested on the right but remaining on the left. 2 names that I like, and don't forget about Valentin Barco that we already spoke about, the one that is playing with Boca Juniors in Argentina, that did a really beautiful under-20 World Cup, or at least in the 4 games that they played in that World Cup before being eliminated by Nigeria. So 3 nice names for the left, 4 names especially two, a bit more predominant for the right side. All the signs and the signals are going towards we play with four, with not big names, but we want to restructure our right and left fullbacks. Attenzione, we go with the other news, because they are speaking about also midfield. Tutto Sport is saying Fratesi, let's go Juve, avanti Juve. And what is the news about Fratesi? That we have a lot of competition, because all the clubs of Italy are on Davide Fratesi. Napoli, Milan, Roma, Inter, they all want Fratesi. He said yesterday when he was in press conference with Italy that he will remain in Italy. What will be his new team? We don't know. What is the situation before speaking about the striker and that Chelsea factor? The situation in the midfield is that we are still waiting for a final answer of Rabiot. One more year at Juventus at the same salary. Will he say yes? Will he say no? We'll discover it quite soon. If it flops, we go with Fratesi. Attenzione, because there is something that I absolutely don't like to read. Because Fratesi, we know it, at Sassuolo all the players are at least 40 million euro. Juventus doesn't want to pay that, doesn't want to invest that money, and they are looking to lower that price tag with some young players. And there I am not agreeing with the names that are circulating. Two names, De Winter. And the winner I can even kind of agree with. But the other name that I'm reading at the moment, Dean Huijsen. And no, don't touch Dean Huijsen. On that one, I totally not agree. I'm not saying that Juventus is going towards Dean Huijsen. But the journalists are making up that name. And that's a name that I really don't want to leave. Do we have to believe everything that journalists are writing? Absolutely no. I will give you an example going back to the fullbacks. They are telling us, Gazzetta dello Sport, for example, that Juventus is thinking to sell one between Cambiaso and Iling Jr. for one simple reason. Because Cambiaso will not play on the right, but will stay on the left. And if we have Cambiaso and Iling Jr., an addition of Kostic, one is too much. But what are they talking about? If you're thinking logically, tactically, they are not even playing the same position. Cambiaso is a left back, a right back, can potentially play a bit higher, but most of all is playing in a four-man defense. And then you have Iling Jr. that is playing in a 4-3-3 on front, and a Kostic that is playing in a 3-4-3, kind of 3-5-2 on that left side. Three total different players. More offensive, Kostic and Iling Jr., more on the defense part, Cambiaso. I don't understand why you should sell one between Cambiaso and Iling Jr., and it makes totally no sense. So logically, if I'm reading the papers, don't believe everything that they are writing in terms of news. We continue. I told you, don't touch Huijsen. But we go to the attack. Yesterday I heard the rumors that Firmino, for free, is a player linked to Juve and Inter. Firmino was a player that I told you last season, why not? I like. Ragazzi, I changed my opinion this season. We are 1 year further. In the state that we are at the moment at Juventus, it's a news that first of all, I don't really 100% believe in. Because even if it's for free, we'll do the same thing with Di Maria. Giving him a huge salary for a player that is in the end of his career. Now that we are rebuilding, and yes, I know you will talk about Allegri, is he the right man and so on, but that's another discussion. Now that we are putting again new fundamentals, if really you are thinking about cost cutting and all these kind of things, Firmino is not the man for Juve. Yes, he is a solid player, a good player, but is he really the man that we want? I don't think so. I prefer reading names like Mikaudatse. Who is Mikaudatse? You will tell me, Beppe, what are you speaking about? Well, he's a young player, Georgian player, double citizenship, French and Georgian. He's playing with Metz, second division in France. He's a player that played 41 games, that is 23, he's young, he scored 21 goals, 8 assists. He's a player that is triggering me, like the names of Wahi, for example, that we were speaking about. Like the one that I said yesterday, Balogun. These names are attractive, not because they are top talents, not because they have the attractiveness of a Firmino, because these names are making me think, yes, Giovanni Manna and Tognozzi are doing a great work. And probably they are picking up the phone, calling Giuntoli to understand what are the names that are really great on the market. A bit unknown, but these players, I'm sure that they will do everything on the field to show that they deserve Juventus. Anyway, we go with the last chapter. I told you about the Chelsea factor. Why are we speaking about all these names? Giovanni Manna spent a few days in London, in UK, and yesterday in Milano, he met Allegri. Juventus will be based in Milano for a few days. You know that we have a small office there in Milano. We will try to speak about the players that needs to go out and the players that need to go in. Speaking about the players that need to go out, well, Dusan Vlahovic, it is not a secret. He is on the market, but Juventus put a price tag there. 80 million euro. And the priority is to have 80 million euro cash from any team. And that's why Juventus is speaking with different teams, because if it's only Bayern Munich, well, these 80 million cash will never arrive. And that's why we are looking different teams to increase that price tag. And that's why we spoke probably also with Chelsea. Chelsea interested, and we know it, in Dusan Vlahovic. 80 million euro, but they are saying wait, because we have some possibilities. We have 5 names. We have Lukaku, we have Koulibaly, that you were interested in 1 year ago. Are these names that are quite attractive for you? Juventus is saying, not really. Not Lukaku. Koulibaly, the train is over. No, these two players are not interesting. But let me know, what else can you offer? What else can we start speaking about? Still keeping in mind that we want 80 million euro cash. We don't really want players. But tell me. And there are 3 names. The first one is Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek, that Juventus gave a total approval on the name. They like the name. It's a player that is attractive, that is a midfield, that can play as a mezzala in a 3-man, but also a bit more defensive. They're saying why not, but only as a third alternative. The first one is Rabiot. We need to understand. Second, we go for Fratesi. If the 2 first one are flopping, we could potentially take into consideration Loftus-Cheek. The third name, or the fourth name that they are putting and offering, is Chalobah, a defender. And attenzione, because here Chalobah would be a player that could be taken into consideration by Juventus only if Gleison Bremer has some offers. Pay attention to offers from Premier League. In that case, we could potentially sell and receive some money for Gleison Bremer and replace him with a name like Chalobah. Chalobah that also had offers from other teams in Italy. And then we go with Pulisic. Pulisic is the 5th name offered by Chelsea to Juve, where Juventus said, at the moment we don't know. We already thought about him, we already studied him. It's not the first summer that we are monitoring Pulisic, but at the moment we don't know. Pay attention also to the factor Milan with Redbird that wants a USA player. Let's think about it. Again, we repeat, the priority at the moment is 80 million cash. Chelsea will be an important factor. Why? Because they have a team at the moment, I believe, of 45, 50 players. They will need to sell or to loan out and even probably lose some money to attract new players like, for example, Vlahovic. Now, there are 2 more names that we have to speak about. It is Milik. What are the situation? Juventus didn't sign him permanently. It was valid until last Friday, but they are back on Milik. Milik that could potentially sign for 1 more year extension with Marseille and then loan him out again to Juve with this time an obligation to buy. It's a name that we know it, Max Allegri likes, Max Allegri loves. It's a name that it's cheap on the market, that in the first part of the season did really well with Juve. He disappeared after his injury. But it's a cheap opportunity, especially if you are losing already Dusan Vlahovic, Di Maria, Chiesa. We have still a big question mark. Milik could be a name in alternative or in addition with new names, like I told you, Wahi, or names like Mikau Datse. That's about Milik. And then we have another name, Kulusevski. And again here, Della Valle, yesterday Fabiana, on her YouTube channel, she gave us an alternative. Juventus wants to keep Kulusevski because the offer from Tottenham is not high enough, because Tottenham wants to sign him permanently for 20 million euro, where the prior agreement was 35. And Juventus is saying, wait, 20 million is absolutely not what we are asking. We can negotiate to 30, but not 20. And in that case, why not keeping a young player that we invested in? On the other side, you have Allegri that is saying no. Ragazzi, I told you, we have every single news, and 30 minutes later we have the opposite news. What you want to believe is probably what you like. Pay attention to the news. Try to filter these news because Mercato is totally crazy. Ragazzi, this was it for a big update on Mercato. Let me know which names were great for you, which name you don't want to. Let me know about that news about Cuadrado. And let me know also maybe which are the sources that you are trusting. Is it Di Marzio? Is it Albanese? Is it Romeo Agresti? Let me know. I'm really curious. Grazie. Maximum of like. Subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza. Juve.